All right, so apologies for the hair, and I've not been on here for a while because, had some things going on. But yeah, this is a film that I watched yesterday. It's called The Platform, and it's obviously got Spanish. What's it called? It's a Spanish film, so it's all like Spanish dubbed. So it's people speaking English but over a Spanish film. So this was film one called The Platform, and then there's also a second film as well. So I'll show you the photo for that one as well. So yeah, El Hoyo Du. So yeah, this obviously won't make any sense until you've watched the first series, the first film. Basically, really really good film. So the whole idea of The Platform is it's kind of like they're in some sort of prison or they're in some sort of confined space that either they've signed up to or they've gone in for whatever reason to reform or to change, or something's happened to them, and you basically meet a handful of characters who some of them follow the rules, some of them don't, and the whole ideology of the film, both of them actually, because it's the same sort of film, but they do kind of link towards the end, and you go, oh my goodness, like I didn't realize this person and that person, whatever. So food is made at the top by like chefs and the rest of it, and it goes down different levels. So I think at first you kind of are trying to work out how many levels are there, because obviously food is not going to last the further down it goes. So that's an initial trying to work out how many levels there are. And also I think at the beginning you don't kind of know that that's what the purpose of the food being made is. You think, oh, it's some sort of restaurant, and then I'm thinking, I'm like, are these, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't make any sense, but other people in there, people that used to work at the restaurant, that's kind of what I thought initially. Obviously that's wrong as well. So yeah, basically it ends up that there's 333 floors, and the food is basically brought down floor to floor to floor, and on every floor everyone's ordered their own food, or they've there's a set amount of food on the table, and it's up to you. Are you greedy and do you eat loads, and then obviously that means there's less for everyone else going forwards, or do you maybe sacrifice not eating for a couple of days to just let the food go down a little bit further? So I think it's that thing as well, because some of the main characters are kind of like, well, you don't want to talk to the people above because they don't really care about you, they're just going to do whatever they want. You don't want to talk to the ones below you because they're obviously below you, so you kind of just have to do what you feel is right in that moment. But then also what's interesting is that after so many days they change positions. So someone who might have been above you might now be below you, or someone that might be below you may now be on the same level as you. To each of these gaps, there's a space or like a bed on both sides. So you don't really want to be rude or horrible to anyone, because anyone could be your next like jail cell buddy. But then again, yeah, the ones below you, if you treat them badly and they end up being above you, then they may just do to you what you've done to them. And then it gets all complicated. But yeah, there's lots of different, you would think that people have their bite of food and they get moving forward and stuff, but it turns very violent very quickly. You have certain characters with different meanings and different stories and stuff like that, and it's a very interesting two films. Like I said, both very separate films, but there is that link right at the end where you go, oh my goodness, that makes sense. So yeah, if you have time to watch, I think The Platform is from 2019. I think The Platform 2 is from 2024, so there was a bit of a gap between the both of them. I don't know if there's going to be a triple, like a sequel or something, but yeah, really, really interesting film. And yeah, like I said, it was dubbed in a different language, so I wasn't kind of following what they were saying in terms of reading their mouths and stuff. I was just listening to the vocals. But you have an old guy, you have these two in the second film. You got the main guy in the first film. I think it was actually Paul Mescal. I recognise the face and I actually know the name, so I think that was Paul Mescal. Really, really good actor as well. And then yeah, you get kind of throwbacks to different characters and stuff, but everything is based in this place. There's no like outside scenes. There's no showing how someone got in somewhere. It's kind of the only bit you get is like interviews before they've gone into this kind of vault cauldron type thing. And then like I said, it gets very messy in film 2, because you kind of, there's a group of people that don't want to follow the rules, and they then start just like taking other people out of the game basically. So then another group has to form in order to kind of battle against that, and then it's just working out who's the strongest group out of all of it. And then obviously right at the end, working out the meaning of what the whole elevator floor business is all about. It's a very deep meaning, but yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, you just have to watch it in order to understand the story. But I think, yeah, having obviously read it all and watched it all and stuff, it's kind of basically the child is the most important thing. You know, a young child is more important than any adult will be, because they're the ones that haven't had their life. So it's almost like, as an adult sacrifices themselves and goes all the way down to the bottom, it then allows the child to then be rebirthed or reborn or whatever. They go up to the top, and then they have a chance of actually living life. So yeah, you see a lot of adults at the bottom, right at the bottom floor at 333 and down further, that they've, you know, sacrificed themselves, but so many kids have then gone up and been able to, you know, enjoy their life, basically. So yeah, like I said, again, you don't see any of that. You don't see any of the kids in the games apart from one, but that was just a bit strange. But that was the initial part where I was like, it's starting to make sense. So if you want films that make you think, then this is the best type of film for you to watch. It's kind of like a psychological, thrillery action, bit of everything, really. So yeah, if that's something you're into, go and give it a watch. And yeah, you definitely won't be disappointed. But yeah, that's all for now. So El Hoyo Part 1 and El Hoyo Part 2.